Here we are again, driving and talking, except we're not driving. Um, got the same lake out here. What I want to talk about this time is the INFJ door slam. But everybody talks about the INFJ door slam like it's the only way we're capable of ending a relationship, whether that's a friendship or an in-depth relationship with another person as far as cohabitating or a significant other. But what if that's not true? Now, I think it's kind of limiting to believe that the only thing we're capable of is door slamming people. It's obviously not. We have the ability to end a relationship without door slamming. But we might need practice at it, or we might need some help with it. So we're going to do this video on not door slamming. What if you were in a relationship that you knew had to end, but you didn't want to door slam the person? What if your intelligence allowed you to understand that the reason the relationship had to end is because you got into a spiral together with another person, and that ending the relationship was the only way to get out of the spiral? And then you did not door slam that person, but you kept that person around as a friend, possibly a good friend, possibly what I would call an intimate friend, but let's not confuse that with physical intimacy. This is a spiritual or an emotional intimacy, because they recognize who you are, they recognize how you are. They just could not deal with a relationship the way it had to be for you, the way you needed to deal with it, or to deal with life. Because that's an issue, right? We get into a relationship and we see it immediately. We meet somebody and we're like, hey, this person's great. They're listening to everything I say. That's what we want, right? We want them to listen to what we say because we know. And they do. And it works. And then what happens? The oracle phenomenon, the prophet phenomenon, the apostle phenomenon. And you know what I'm talking about. You are the best thing since sliced bread. Everything you say is golden. Everything you say works. And because of this, they treat you that way. You're somebody they have never met somebody like you before. And they, for lack of a better word, they worship you. And you confuse that with emotional connection. You're excited because they think you're great. They listen to you. And in the beginning, that is what you're getting out of it. They're listening, so they feel like they're seen in a way that they've never been seen before. And not only are they listening, but they're acting accordingly to questions that they pose you, and you give answers, and they act accordingly, and it works, and they come back and tell you, hey, I did what you said, or I took that suggestion you made, and man, it worked so great, and you're so awesome, and all this. So now you're getting not just the praise, but you're getting the emotional, what feels like emotional support, and what feels like an actual two-way relationship. And then it goes a little further, and you reach the ceiling, right? We always reach the ceiling. And then as INFJs, we go, well, I've got this invested in it now. I've got this much invested in it now. And they really are nice, and they do care about me. I can tell that. And we make good friends. I mean, we were friends to begin with, and before I got comfortable, we were friends. And then, I thought I got a little too comfortable, but it wasn't. They didn't take it as being too comfortable. They welcomed it, and they reciprocated, or at least it looked like they did at the time. And you hit the ceiling, so you're going through this process. Do I just cut them loose? Is it too late to cut them loose? Is it too late to back away? So we end up keeping them around most of the time. And they end up keeping us around past the point of us being the prophet, of being the oracle. They keep us around because they think it's going to come back. But it's not, because they're the one that put us on that pedestal. We never wanted to be put on that pedestal to begin with. It's kind of nice to be recognized every once in a while, but we never wanted to be put up on a pedestal. That was them. They did that. We didn't ask for that. Then you need to recharge. Really, something, life gets hard. Winter comes. For me, I go into hibernation every winter. It's where I do a lot of recharging because there's not a lot else to do. Especially after Thanksgiving and Christmas, there's not a lot to do, and I need a lot of recharging after Thanksgiving. It takes me nearly the entire month to recharge for Christmas because of all the, Christmas activities that you've got to go do within that 4-week time. And if you don't do it in that 4-week time, you're not going to do it. So, well into January, or even February, I personally am recharging. I suspect that many of you are also doing the same. And then spring comes around, and we're back at it, but now the relationship has changed because you're not awesome and great anymore. You were. Sure would be nice if you were again, but you're not. So now you're getting emotional input that is negative because you're not being who you we're expected to be. So let me lay this down for you, because this is something that's controversial, but many of you may find surprisingly accurate from an INFJ standpoint. Love is not uncontrollable, especially for a lot of, for a lot of people. Love is not uncontrollable. Love is also not unconditional the vast majority of the time. And it is conditional on you being the same today that you were yesterday. And see, the moment you stop being what you are expected to be by another person, that person's feelings will change towards you. The first time you're not emotionally available or there with the answers that are needed, or there with the support 100%, putting yourself in a deficit to support the other person, then you are thought of differently. You're looked at differently. You are, from our point of view, you're not loved like you were yesterday. Love is now conditional on your behavior. You thought it was unconditional in the beginning, but you have failed to meet expectation, and because of that, the love that you thought was unconditional is now not reciprocated. You still feel the love, they do not, or their actions do not show it. There is no grace there. So that starts the spiral. And then now, because you're spiraling, then you can't be who you were before, because you're in a spiral. So you've got the NITI spiral going on, and then the FE comes in and puts into concrete that you aren't good enough, you're not doing enough, you're not saying enough, you're not being enough. You are not being who you are expected to be to get loved or treated with love the same way that you were treated with love before. Whether that be the day before, the week before, the month before, whatever. So now you've got to end it. But this conditional love is only one aspect. You see, before there was a love aspect, there was a friendship. There should be mutual respect between two adults. And if this is true, then you have not only the intellectual but the emotional intelligence to see that. You don't have to door slam them. It's not the only way we can end a relationship. We can say, look, this really is my fault. so you can take it all. Even though, because you're intelligent enough on both fronts to know that either the person is going to blow up and insist that it's their fault and you just won't tell them it's their fault, or that there's somebody else and you just won't tell them there's somebody else, or the other thing happens. This is how you make the determination, if you're in question about, can this person handle not having the door slammed on them? Because I don't want to end every relationship I've ever been in with a door slam. And I don't think the other INFJs do either. But a lot of times we think we don't have a choice. And some of us now, with all these INFJ videos running around, some of us now believe that, yeah, we knew what the door slam was and we knew we did it. But now we're almost being trained to believe that it's the only way we can end a relationship, but it's really not. We can say, hey, you know, this is my fault. I am not well. You know, if you're in a relationship with somebody for a year, 2 years, 3 years, then they're going to know how you are. If they paid attention at all, they're going to know how you are. And so if you look at them and say, you know how I am, you know how I think, and I am not okay in my own head. And if I am not okay, excuse me, I didn't mean to ruffle the mic. If I am not okay, then we are not okay. And until I can be okay, we can't be okay. So lead with that. I can't do this. I am stuck in this. You don't have to explain it all, but you get into it together. You get into the spiral together because they are reinforcing your own NITI spiral, and you can't live in that. It's not healthy. So you get yourself out of it, and there are people out there that can handle hearing, I'm not okay, and I cannot be in this relationship. You see that I'm not who I used to be. I'm not the same person. And that's, I'm not going to get better. Not inside this relationship. So I need to exit the relationship so that I can be healthy as a human being. And there are people that they're going to get hurt. They might even blow up. But instead of door slamming them at that moment, or even before the conversation happens, let the conversation happen. And if it blows up and they get bitter and mad and whatever, it's not like you can't handle it. You deal with that crap every day without people opening their mouth. So, you can do, and those emotions and all that crap that's coming at you, or that's going at other people and was never intended for you, is probably much harsher than anything you're going to have to listen to or deal with when you end a relationship. So you give them the chance to be the bigger person, or to take the high road, as they say. So no, we don't have to door slam. We can keep people around that we value if they value us enough to realize that, yeah, maybe that person's right. Maybe we're not, maybe this relationship is not a lifelong thing. And if you can get them to see that, if you can help them see that, or maybe they can see it on their own, then it's possible to keep that person around, especially, and well, it will mean a lot more 10 years down the road if you can keep this person around as a friend, because that will be a support person that they're going to have their ceiling, but you're going to know what their ceiling is. And maybe you found somebody that doesn't need an explanation. Maybe you found somebody that you thought you were going to be able to make a good relationship with, even in spite of their ceiling, or their ceiling was high enough so that you could have conversations at your own level up to a point that it was fulfilling for you to a degree. Rarely people can pick it apart. Rarely people that are not INFJs can actually pick it apart. And INFPs are not willing to. They want to make a damn choice and just shut up with all the hem hawing and make a choice. So, you know, but if you run across another INFJ, or somebody that can understand INFJs, and there are a few of them out there, then they can understand that maybe this isn't the best choice. This relationship isn't the best choice. Maybe this is not a lifelong choice. Maybe this was, as they say, for a season, and then it's over. But that doesn't mean that you have to turn your back on that person. And they don't have to turn their back on you. You can split amicably and live your own lives and continue to be friends and continue to support each other from that place of love that you hold for that person. You're gonna you're gonna turn back into the profit though. But when you're at an arm's length and it's already broken once, the relationship has already broken apart, and it's a couple of months down the road, or a year down the road, whatever it is, you're most likely you're going to turn back into that profit, and that person's going to try to figure out how to get their profit back, or their oracle back. So you may have to fight that some, and that'll be your decision on, am I spending too much energy fighting this? Am I filtering what I say too much to keep from appearing like their version of who they want me to be in a perfect scenario? So there's a lot of conditions that go into this, but there's a difference between door slamming somebody and then making a decision, then instead of that, to separate, remain friends, remain supportive of each other, because maybe you were getting some support from this person, right? I mean, maybe they were giving you some of the support you needed, which, you know, as people, we are always lonely, but maybe that person helped you feel less lonely. And that's valuable to you. You were at one time valuable to them. It's just that drained, you're not valuable to anybody. So once the relationship splits, if they're if they're agreeable to staying friends and truly staying friends and not making snide comments and you know the deal. If they're not making comments, they're not making you feel um, emotionally responsible for something that isn't yours to feel responsible for, then it's automatically going to be worth keeping that person around for what support they can give you as a friend. So don't automatically door slam somebody just because it's the most talked about thing to do, or it's just the easiest thing to do. It's just, it'd just be easier to just chop this person off and never talk to them again. But look at the other side of the coin. Or is there any possible way that you could get some use out of this person in the future? And don't flood me with a bunch of using people crap, because people use us all the time, and they don't ever pay us back as much as they owe us, and we know it and they know it. Everybody knows it. They just don't say it. So people are meant to be used, friends are meant to be used, people in relationships are meant to be used. That's why we it's why we cohabitate, it's why we have friends, it's why we have groups, it's why we live in cities, because we use each other. It's the way it's been for tens of thousands of years, probably hundreds of thousands of years. That's what we do. We use each other. So let's not turn it into, something that it's not. If I need help moving, a couch, then I call the friend that I know is capable of moving the couch. That's called using your resources intelligently. If they need to know uh, some information that they know I have, okay, they run across a problem and they know that I dealt with that a year or two ago. They call me. They're using their resources wisely. They are using their friends wisely. So let's not get caught up on today's version of use and what it is to use somebody. We're not talking about maliciously using somebody. We're talking about a give and take in a friendship or in a relationship. So if that person is useful to you, if they give you support that you enjoy having, then try to keep it around if you can, because we need all the support we can get. Because most people either think that absolutely nothing is wrong because we just don't show it, or they don't care and don't want to know. Or even worse, they ask, we tell them, and they It's not, we're not the only ones that are capable of a door slam. It's just a different door slam, right? Because they ask us, what's wrong? And we, for some reason, have a lapse in judgment and tell them, right? Well, you look like you're not having a good day. Or you look like you're really stressed out. Or you really look tired. Are you okay? And you just have a momentary lapse of judgment and just verbal diarrhea. You just couldn't hold it in. And what do? They give you the, okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, I've got to go. I think, yeah, I forgot to do, and then they go. And that's the last time they ever looked at you normal again, as long as they live, because something came out of your face that they could not handle. You didn't mean for it to, but it happened, and they door slammed you. So, a friend that can be somewhat supportive, that can be somewhat understanding. Maybe we can't be 100% with them, 100% honest with them, but we know how honest we can be already because we've been in this intimate relationship. So think about not door slamming them. Think about keeping them around for a constructive friendship that goes into the future. Will it work? Can't tell you. We all hope it works. It usually doesn't, and it's getting worse because of the world we live in. But maybe if there are enough videos like this one that go out on the other end, on the other side of the story, that are, that at least try to be understanding, then maybe it'll get a little better. Maybe we can start to find people out there that need us as bad as we need them. And because of that, when we're in a relationship and we start it with, look, I love you, I care about you, but we've been going in the wrong direction. And I think you know it as much as I do. You're not happy, and I can see you're not happy. The problem is I can no longer make you happy because I'm not happy either. I'm not okay. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally, I'm not okay. I need to be by myself. I need to go, I need a life change. It doesn't involve anybody else. It involves me getting back to me and getting healthy again. And if you can start like that and they accept it, there's a good chance that you can remain friends. And you won't have to use the alternative language of them coming home and you and all of your belongings not being there. And then calling and texting to dead air. And we all know what that's called, the door slam. And there are, less opportune ways to do that, but, that's the best case scenario for us. They disappear for the day, whether they go to work or whatever. And then when they come back, we're just gone. I've done it. A lot of us have, because we feel like it's the easiest way to do it. But if you love and respect the person you're with and they honestly were not doing anything maliciously, that if you can understand that that person, and you can see the evidence of that person just not understanding or just not knowing what they were doing, what their actions were doing. Now, see, if you've got somebody that's gaslighting you and that's manipulating you actively because they know as soon as they say, well, you hurt my feelings, or you said you were going to do this and you didn't, or whatever, and they know that you are going to knuckle under and do whatever it is they want you to do, or that you're going to be in payback mode for the next week, and they're using that to their advantage, they don't qualify for the friendship clause. Those people don't get the friendship clause. Those people get the door slam. But if you can see that there's evidence that these people weren't actually doing it intentionally, it's just the way they are. It's the way they've always lived. And it doesn't have anything to do with us. They're not trying to manipulate us. They're not trying to control us. They're not gaslighting us. Then that qualifies for the friendship clause. If you can look at this person and go, well, they they do care about me. I can see that. They do love me. I can see that. This is going to be a painful experience for them and for me, but they're not doing it intentionally. It's just that I can't get out of the spiral with them still in my life, when that is the only issue. Try your best to keep them around, because if they weren't worth something, they would not be there to begin with. Now, maybe they were worth something, but now they're gaslighting you and manipulating you and whatever else, using you. Then, and they're they're doing it intentionally, and we know. But if you know they're doing it intentionally, then go ahead. But it's not an automatic. It shouldn't be an automatic. I don't know if it's not an automatic, but it shouldn't be. And we should be able to make that choice. We should not get locked in to one way of doing things. We should always be open to all the variables, or at least enough of them to be fair and neutral, right? Because that's who we are. I'm Mark. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out with me again. And you know what? I promise your life is going to be better if you hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'm telling you the truth, because I can see your future. Follow along with me again. I'll see you again soon. Thanks.